Over the past year, nearly 50,000 families have had their homes repossessed. Some predict the worst is yet to come, with 500,000 of us at risk of repossession. This is a story about what happens when the finances of ordinary families fall apart.
We just can't afford the payments. Full stop.
Filmed over the last 8 months, it follows 3 families facing the threat of repossession.
I never thought I would ever end up in court for any reason, to be honest.
As they struggle to keep hold of their homes.
This is my home. It's not somebody else's.
This is Hythe, in Essex. On a street where most families are council tenants, number 26 is one of the few houses which is privately owned. For Teresa and Norman Moles and their children Tia, 4, and Courtney, 10, owning this 4-bedroom home is the result of a 10-year journey up the property ladder.
When we first got married, we had, we had our first flat from the council and worked up to get, a house and then somewhere a little bit better, which is what most people want to do, isn't it? When we bought this house, we bought it to stay, whereas our other houses, we've lived in and then thought, oh, we'd like to have somewhere better. And that's what we did when we moved here. We thought, well, this is fine, we'll be able to stay here. There's room for everything that we want and, the children really like it. So it was somewhere to stay settled.
So hold them.
And we were pleased with what we'd achieved.
My favourite is my books and my bed. I prefer the ones by Jacqueline Wilson. They're mainly about, kids who they get kicked out of their house because they can't pay the bills. I think that maybe in a few months we might be like that.
The Moles moved in 3 years ago, when times were good for homeowners in Britain. Mortgages were cheap, and most families thought that the value of their property would continue to go up and up.
A lot of people think, oh, well, perhaps they were trying to have something that they couldn't afford to have in the first place. Whereas when we first moved here, we could afford to live here and we could afford to pay the mortgage. And Norman's job was a lot more stable and everything was fine.
But like many families, the Moles borrowed a large amount on a low fixed rate. When their rate expired 4 months ago, they discovered they could no longer afford their home.
I was on a 4.1, I think it was, which was a very good rate. And we was dealing with that okay. And then they changed the mortgage rate and it leapt up £350 a month to what I was paying. They automatically put me on the highest one they've got. They didn't ask me in the office or what road I wanted to go down or anything. Well, we was using credit cards to buy food and things what you need, like the kids' shoes and bits and pieces. And obviously to try and keep the mortgage, because that was one of the important things. With your council tax and everything else, it was just too much money.
We're on a meter for gas and electricity now because we couldn't pay the bills every month or so we have to go on a meter. And they keep talking about how they can't afford to live in the house anymore because the mortgage and that is so high.
When Norman started to fall behind on payments, the family decided to downsize to a smaller house and a smaller mortgage.
We did have this house sold for good money and we had another one which we were going to buy, but the Abbey said, well, we wouldn't give you a mortgage now anyway, although we've got a mortgage with them. They said no, so they said we've got to clear the arrears and keep it clear for 6 months and then they'd consider it.
The family is now in serious financial trouble and Teresa has started to suffer from panic attacks.
I've been having them the last few weeks more, panic attacks, anxiety attacks, which I do get occasionally anyway, but obviously since all this has been happening, I've been getting them a lot more. It's hard to explain if people don't have them. They don't know what you're talking about.
Now we're up to this stage where they've sent us this letter.
Norman is nearly £5,000 behind in his mortgage payments. After 3 months of missed payments, the lender has the right to seek repossession.
We're doing court the end of this month, and they were taking the house. They want the house back and they will sell it. And obviously anything what's still left, we will have to pay them. But obviously we won't be able to do that because we will be bankrupt because all the money's in the house. So they won't get any money, basically. Well, bitter really, because they're a high street name and supposed to be good at what they do. But they haven't helped us one bit, you know.
Norman knows that if he doesn't get some money together soon, his family could be evicted in a matter of weeks. This is Washingborough, a suburb of Lincoln. Alan Cooper has lived in the area his whole life. 5 years ago, he met Teresa Weimer, fell in love, and the couple searched for a house to accommodate their children from previous marriages, and Teresa's 2 nieces. Now the kids are settled in, they plan on getting married.
When we started and we bought the place, we were just starting out. It was a new relationship for Teresa and I, or newish relationship for Teresa and I, and we decided the time had come for us to buy a bigger place so that we could accommodate my children and Teresa's children, and we were full of confidence and full of life and going forward, and everything was rosy.
For the past 20 years, Alan has worked in financial services. He now sells mortgages from home.
Oh, hello, is that Emma? Hello, Emma, it's Alan Cooper from Total Finance. Hello, it's been a long time since I've spoken to you.
But the housing crisis is having a major impact on Alan's business.
It's been difficult. It is an incredibly difficult environment to try and work at the moment. When you've got nothing on the go, you tend to be on it all the time, trying to make something happen, trying to generate some business, make some money. So I seem to be working 12, 14-hour days at the moment and getting nowhere.
That's not Alan's only problem. He has a poor credit history. So when it came time to get a mortgage for the new home, he could only get a high interest rate.
With the arrears and everything else, there's no way of moving the mortgage. And the credit crunch has tightened up all the lender's criteria, so there's no way of moving it. So I'm stuck in a deal at 11% on £180,000 that I can't move.
If you had a normal mortgage rate,
Yes. Yeah.
like other people have got, then we could afford to stay here, but we haven't. You're on 11% and it's crippling us.
Teresa has had to go out and get a job to help cover costs.
It's very quiet today.
It is for a Friday.
These are our famous Lincolnshire sausage.
For the past month, she's worked part-time as a butcher's assistant for £200 a week.
It pays for the food for the week, so that takes the pressure off finding food for the children. But it's not a particularly skilled job, so it's not the best wages in the world. But yeah, it's helped to feed us.
Even with Teresa taking care of the food bill, Alan is still not making enough to pay the full $1,700 he owes each month on the mortgage.
We sit down and say how much we can afford to pay off the mortgage each month and what's left for bills and clothing and food, and we're in agreement 99% of the time.
Right, girls, can you go into the front room for me, please?
But if Alan wants to take his children to McDonald's and the money's tight that week, it can cause an argument.
Which one's mine?
You know, $1.99 a Happy Meal, it shouldn't really affect the purse strings that much. But we've had to be very careful what we spend our money on.
Kirst, can you go and tell the other guys to come and get a seat at the table, please, and mind the cat, because it's under it.
But for Teresa and Alan, it may be too late to budget.
Feeding time at the zoo, and they've got the wrong spoon.
Yesterday, their mortgage lender got in touch. They are almost £6,000 in arrears, and the lender is threatening to take the family to court.
Oh, come on.
When you've got 7 children to look after, it's even more heart-wrenching, really. But I know he'll look after me, so I know we'll be OK.
Alan will have to come up with a plan quickly or face repossession.
Others in this situation, you quite often hear them saying, we're there, but for the grace of God go I, and you know, for many years I've done that. But I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to try and sort this problem out.
Back at the Mole's house in Essex, it's the last day of summer term.
Are you ready, Tia?
Ready.
Go on in.
Teresa is taking Tia to pick up her sister Courtney from school.
Yes, Mummy.
Yes, that might be the last time we come this way, mightn't it? To get somebody from school.
Mummy,
Yeah.
when we move into a different house,
Mm-hmm.
can we still buy cakes?
We can still buy cakes and make cakes, yes.
In 3 weeks, Teresa and Norman are due in court to defend their home against repossession. Norman makes his living buying and selling second-hand cars. If he can earn enough this month to pay back part of what they owe, he may still save their home.
When I was at school, I mean, all I did was mess around and fight people, so if you like, I didn't get a brilliant education. I can't read and write that well, so I am limited to what I can do. You know, I couldn't work in an office, be an accountant, or work with figures, so I can only do what I'm good at, really.
Tonight, he's at Mannheim car auction in nearby Colchester. He's looking for cheap cars to sell on quickly and make some much-needed cash.
I'll buy anything tonight this way. Crazy here tonight. The thing is, even old stuff like this is fetching stupid money tonight, isn't it? Well, I was going to have a little bid on that Vauxhall, but the prices are quite expensive tonight. I remember when you used to come up here on a Thursday, buy 3 or 4 bits, and you wouldn't spend £1, would you? It's mad, isn't it? You might as well go home, you know.
Once again, Norman's been priced out of the market. This week, he's got nothing to put towards the mortgage.
Made me a bit depressed, really. But we've got to fight on and, you know, start again, you know. As I say, you know, we've had one of them years this year anyway, you know, like, I mean, my brother, he had his problems, he was depressed and he ended up killing himself. Obviously, I don't want to go down that road. But, you know, it's days like this when you think, you know, was he right or was he wrong, you know?
And you a little rabbit.
Then I look at my kids and I think, I couldn't put them through it, you know, I couldn't put them through that. And at the end of the day, you know, if you do something like that, the building societies and all these people who hassle you, they've won. You know, so you just got to be strong enough to start again and get through it all. So that's what we're going to have to do.
One week later, Norman and Teresa head to the Citizens Advice Bureau to see if they can get any help to avoid repossession.
No, we're going to go down the stairs. I'm not going in the lift. I don't like being shut in the lift.
Why?
On the stairs, I can go down at my own pace and I can see the way out.
They have prepared a full account of their income and outgoings for the Citizens Advice Counsellor.
What's your gross monthly salary, do you know?
Just from work?
1,200.
Be about 800, I think.
Total?
Yeah, total, yeah.
I mean, you see, the trouble is you're in an extreme position because you've got not only mortgage arrears, you've got negative equity.
Yeah.
Now that the fixed rate has gone and you're on the variable rate, you've got a huge increase in your mortgage payments. I mean, you've got a situation which really you've got no alternative, have you?
No.
No, I mean, whatever they say,
yeah.
at the end of the day, we can't pay that amount a month, can we? So.
That's right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for your help.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Most clients we get, usually, who come in with possession proceedings pending, we can work out a way for them to maybe reduce what they're paying to unsecured creditors in order to provide the funds so they can meet their contractual mortgage payments. They're not untypical, but they're a rather extreme case.
It's a cruel reality check. But the Moles are still hoping when they go to court, the judge will help them work out a mortgage repayment plan they can afford and not evict them.
Obviously, we didn't think we'd be where we are today this time last year.
Sit down.
You know, things were hard last year, but we didn't think, you know, we'd be homeless.
In the village of Minchinhampton in Gloucestershire, home to Princess Anne, most families are concerned with how to spend their wealth, not how to save their home. But Tim and Tracy Hopner, local people who grew up in the area, have just received an eviction notice, telling them to pack up and leave their home in a week's time.
Right. What do you want to find out then with the car boot?
Like that one.
That one? You're going to sell that one as well?
I'm sorting my stuff that I want to sell in the car boot because we're trying to save our house.
We've got a week and 2 days to find £1,283 to stop the eviction on the house.
This.
Right now we're in a bit of a mess, in the process of being repossessed. The council aren't forthcoming with any options or any housing options. So we're just trying to fight it best we can.
I want to sell this.
You want to sell that? Okay.
Kids tend to pick up on like the tension in the family, so it's best just to sort of be straight with them, tell them what's happening, and just be honest with them.
I've got some PlayStation games which are down there.
They shouldn't have to. It's my problem. I mean, I'm their father. I'm the one meant to be putting the roof over their head, and I'm failing at the moment. Do you think we got enough to do a car boot, you two? No, we got to think positive. Is if we take this lot, I'd say, to a car boot, I think we'd bring probably just over half of it back. Well, I think it was a very nice thought of you. I think we'll give it a miss. So it was a very nice thought, thank you very much, but I think we'll get there. Yeah. I'm confident that we'll do it.
Despite their financial troubles, Tim and Tracy don't want to sell their home.
Yeah, Tim would like to save the house, mainly for me. He knows how much it means personally to me. Like, I was brought up here, it's my family's home. And, you know, the kids have got everything they want here. They've got a lot of friends, they've got a lovely school. He's desperately trying to keep us where we are.
Tim bought their house from the council for only £40,000, but since then they have remortgaged several times against the rising value of the home. They now owe £150,000 to different lenders.
It was in poor state,
Really bad way.
so the only way to get the money to do the property up was to remortgage. And every time you remortgage, you add costs on top of that. So you're only borrowing £5,000, but you pay back up to £10,000. And being naive as we were at the time, we just kept on remortgaging to get the money to do the property up each time. They'll throw money at you, basically. At the time, it was a good idea. We thought we could afford it, and it just all went downhill. I think I got made redundant, didn't I?
Yeah. I just wanted something for the future for my kids. I always wanted something better than what my parents struggled for when they were younger. They had it as a lovely, warmly home, but it was never any of theirs to hand down to us kids. And I've always wanted, even right from an early age, that I wanted something to hand to my children eventually.
What we've actually gained in our back pocket out of the mortgages we've had is probably about £17,000. We've gained in our back pocket. The rest is all on charges. I don't know how it all works. It's just, you just go along with it to get it done, don't you? I don't think anybody actually sits down and reads every little bit of the small print.
Tim and Tracy are behind on all their loans. In a bid to get themselves out of trouble, Tim recently started doing double shifts at work.
I'm a general builder, so I do basically anything that comes along. I get to work for about 7:30 in the morning, and then I finish my day job at 4:45, and then evenings I'm building a garage as well at the same time. Haven't been finishing until about 10 o'clock at night.
Johnny, you coming down?
That's all I can do, is I'll work as long as it takes to keep my house and, you know, keep my belongings.
It's not just bricks and water, it's my home. And it's my children's home too. And we will try our hardest to keep it for them.
Tim now only has a few days left to find the money needed to stave off Tuesday's eviction. Back in Washingborough, Alan and Teresa are due in court. Their lender wants to take possession of the family home, but it's up to the judge to decide whether or not to evict.
Yeah, I didn't sleep very well last night, so I suppose the nerves are settling in a little bit.
I never thought I would ever end up in court for any reason, to be honest. So to be going for this is shocking. Yeah. It could be a 28-day eviction notice, so I've been told, so that's scary. That's very scary. God, I never thought we'd be here.
No, things were going all right, weren't they?
Alan is going in with a business plan. He hopes the judge will give them another 6 months to find a buyer for their home.
I feel really sick now. No,
Don't worry.
I really do.
But Alan will need to keep up the payments in the meantime.
Have I done enough to influence the court? I don't know. There is a lot of business having gone through, so it looks prosperous, it looks pretty good. So fingers crossed they'll accept what we're saying, and also that we'll be able to continue to make all the payments and everything else. Yeah, it's gone okay, yeah. I think we've got the result that we were hoping for. We've got a suspended repossession for 6 months, and we have to make minimum contributions, the mortgage payment plus minimum contributions, which is the arrears spread out over the remaining term, which if you'd have asked us before we went in, what did we ideally want, that would have been it. So
Happy bunnies.
we're quite happy, but obviously, you know, we've now got to make the payments and make sure we don't miss any, and it's been a slap wrist.
If Alan's business picks up over the summer, the Coopers will have enough time to sell their home and pay off the mortgage. In 2 hours, the Moles family are also due in court.
My stomach hurts. I'm hot and bothered. Just really nervous. Probably be all right once I get there. Just the thought of going.
Yeah, got a suit. Just got to put a tie on downstairs. And then I'll be ready. Ready to go.
I haven't felt this panicky for a long time, so it's quite bad because I don't want to be really, really panicky, like I'm going to pass out. I'll just have to go outside for a little while. So I haven't been like this for a long time.
Norman doesn't have a financial plan, but he's hoping the judge will be lenient and give them extra time in their home.
Basically, you just said they'd do a repossession order for 28 days. It's really upset her. You don't know what I'm
I know.
It's stupid.
They'll need to find a new home, but with no money to rent privately, their only option is to ask the council for help.
At least we know we've got 28 days to sort something out, haven't we?
Yes.
Here we go then.
It says number unavailable, and sometimes we don't answer number unavailables because we know that they're asking for money. So we try not to answer them.
The Hopners only have 2 days left before the bailiffs are due. If they can't come up with the cash by tomorrow, they will be evicted from their home.
I don't mind being short. You know, we can cut down on the shopping. The kids understand, so they're not snacking all the time like they do, like kids do. We don't go out, you know, don't socialise, so we don't spend money that way. Just come to pick my wages up for me week's hard work. They're good. They pay about 400 each week. The total amount needed is £1,283, and I'm probably at 1,100, I think, at the moment. So probably take 200 out of my wages, and that should cover it.
We're getting there. We've got quite a bit in there at the moment. Tim hasn't quite put his wages in there yet. Tim's got some more money coming from a job that he's done over the weekend, so I think he's got to put in from his wages about 150 or something like that, and then we'd have it. So yeah, we've managed to stop the first one. Whether we'll stop the second one, which we haven't got yet, but I don't think it'll be long.
Tracy and Tim know they aren't out of the woods yet. They've paid off one lender, but are dangerously behind on their other payments.
Because we're scrimping so much now to do this, then we're going to be short for next month.
We haven't got anywhere with the mortgage payments. We did write a letter to mortgage company, but we haven't heard anything back yet. We owe quite a few payments. We just can't afford the payments. Full stop. And we either pay them a small amount and still keep in arrears, or just say hands up, we can't afford it. I'll just basically be robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Alan promised the judge he would start paying his mortgage, but 3 weeks later, he hasn't been able to turn his business around.
I've got to find this file from last night.
And Alan's already missed the first payment.
I've lost a file. Ordinarily, I'm very organised, but just these last few weeks, it's all gone to pot, I'm afraid. Oh, dear. You kind of lose that... you kind of lose the desire to be on top of everything. I guess that's been reflected in the output that I've achieved over the last few weeks. Yeah, it's not a happy place at the moment.
But Alan's come up with a new plan of action.
I've decided to cut my losses, make a run for it, and what I've done is I've gone off and rented a property. So I've put my deposit down, I've put my first month's rent down, and we've just decided we're going to move out and give the keys back. This place is going to be repossessed, so for the safety and happiness of everybody, we've decided to go now. I got it?
Yeah. Alan's decision carries big risks. Sending the keys back means that Alan and Teresa forfeit the right to sell their home and pay off the mortgage.
Yeah, babe, because that's heavy, isn't it?
When I met Alan, I had a 3-bedroomed house. You know, all the children were so unhappy being squeezed into a 3-bedroomed house, obviously. And when we got this place, you know, it was affordable to us. It was everything we wanted, really. I just feel empty. I just feel empty.
you do things together and then it's just all going to get taken away and somebody's going to end up with the house that we built really cheap because we can't afford it.
When it goes back to the lender, the house is likely to be auctioned off and make a big loss, which Alan will be responsible for.
Got it? Yeah.
The Coopers' new home is in the next village.
Right, move that across, then we'll put the...
Shortly after they arrive, the phone rings.
Somebody wants to view the house at 1 o'clock.
You are?
Figert and Crone have just rung.
Yeah.
And somebody wants to view the house at 1 o'clock today.
Oh, that could be a result, couldn't it? Get out by the skin of her teeth.
Potentially, it's a last-minute reprieve. If they can get a good price, they may still be able to avoid repossession.
And if they did put an offer in, it wouldn't matter how low it would, we would offer it to the lenders and see what they would say, just to stop the repossession. I've gone from feeling really quite sad to feeling really quite excited. Well, to me, it will mean all the hard work that we did put into it, we haven't done it for nothing. We've done it and we've been able to sell the house, hopefully for more than what we've bought it. It will just change everything in that sense, yeah. Fingers crossed. Oh, whoops. The people that want to view the house have just arrived, so I'm just going to go and greet them at the door. Explain that we're moving out today. Oh, right. Oh. We've literally just moved out. I'll start off in the biggest bedroom, which is this one. And that's quite a good size as well. This is bedroom 2, because you've got your views at the back. No, it was bedroom, because we've got 7 children. Oh, right. Because I just don't want to do it. That went really well, I think. Yeah, they loved the views, loved the garden, loved the size of the house. So, fingers crossed, we might get a call later. Yeah, fingers crossed.
It's been 4 weeks since the Moles family went to court, and Teresa finally receives the visit she's been dreading.
Hi. Good morning, Mrs. Moles.
Yes, that's right, yes.
Is it possible to have a quiet word with you?
Yeah, you're from?
County Court. Are you expecting me at all?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
All right, then. I'll leave
Okay,
it with you.
thank you very much.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye. Uh, 24th of September at 11:45. Well, because I'm always trying to think, yeah, it isn't going to happen. I'm not really going to go, and I'm not really going to have to give my house up. But obviously, yeah, it's final, now we know. So it means the council got 2 weeks to try and find us somewhere to live, which isn't very long, and there isn't anywhere. So, we'll just wait and see.
Norman's been speaking to the council, who have put them on a waiting list.
1 minute they sort of say, oh, you know, it'll be a bed and breakfast. Then they say, oh, you know, we're going to try and get you a house. But we're still none the wiser now than what we were 4 or 5 weeks ago. Another guy who's supposed to be sorting it out, I mean, I spoke to him last week, and he said there was 2 houses what was available, but they've been allocated to other people. So we still don't know really, but we don't want to at the last minute have to sort out all this rubbish and stuff to move, because obviously if we leave it here, they'll charge us for moving it. So that'll be even more money.
Every one of us would rather stay here if we could.
This is the best house.
It's the best house here. So we all want to stay. So packing's, it's not nice, because we'd prefer to just be staying here.
Alan and Teresa have had an offer on the house. Because it's less than what they bought it for, they need the lender's permission to sell.
I've had an offer on the property of 165. You wouldn't accept it? Surely it's in my interest to get rid of it. So that's a flat no, is it, on that offer? You won't move? Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. That was all a bit uneventful. The offer of 165 is flatly refused. And basically, we if we've moved out, we need to give them the keys back.
I didn't think it would affect us like this at all. I've said all along, you know, as long as we stick together, we'll be fine. And we have stuck together, but we haven't been fine. This last week has been quite unbearable to live with, to be honest.
Go on. You know, it just seems I go through week after week after week of not generating enough income, and it's difficult, and it does get us both down, and we do get a bit tetchy with each other.
I'm sort of taking my wages day by day just because Alan's not getting paid, so I'm taking my wages when I work the day, and it lasts me till the next time, and then I take my wages again. So, you know, it's hard work. It's hard to live your life like that.
Alan is at the old house to check the post.
I was hoping to get a client fee through the post, but it isn't here, so £3,000.
The rent's due next week, and if he doesn't get any money in, then that's not good. Well, he keeps reassuring me that he should be fine, but we'll have to wait and see till next week.
Oh, good morning. It's Courtney Mole's mum from 6G. Hi. I'm not going to send her in today. They haven't actually found anywhere for us to live yet. So, you know, she should be there tomorrow. All right?
It's the day of eviction for the Moles family. In 2 hours, they must be out. They still have no idea where they're moving to.
No, I haven't had nothing, no phone calls from Cohenhausen or anybody. No, I told them that 3 months ago. I've got no friends who can put me up. They're meant to be finding me somewhere. They've had 3 months to do it. And not being funny, as I suggested, I've jumped through all these hoops. And I really do think you're taking the piss out of me now, telling me you've got nowhere to put me with 3 kids and all my stuff. Are you going to store that for me, or shall I just fucking burn it in the drive? What do you reckon? I really do think you're taking the piss, don't you? What do you think? Do you think this is funny? So I'm not happy about this at all, and you better find me somewhere to go. Or else, have you got any room for me at yours? How big's your house? Could you help me out? So you think I'm going to pay £250 a night to live in a B&B because you donuts ain't done your job? Is that what you're saying to me? But I need to know ASAP, because obviously I've got to get all this stuff out of my house, or the bailiff's going to lock it in, and then he's going to get bashed as well, because I'm getting the hump now. OK, right, I'll let you do that then, and then call me back by 9:30. If not, I'm coming in the office. Right, OK. Dickhead.
I'm up here, sorry.
Right, he's going to ring us back. He's got nowhere to go. So we could be in a bed and breakfast for a couple of days, because he said they haven't had a lot of time to find anywhere. They've only had 3 months. Hello, can I speak to David, please? That's Mr. Moles again. But I mean, obviously we'll take that caravan because we need to be somewhere. So, okay then. Yeah, thanks, bye. Yeah, what he's done, he's got you'll like this one, a mobile home on Walter Graves at Mersey.
Mersey.
Caravan,
Right.
So that's all right. At least you've got
Yep.
somewhere to live,
Yep.
you've got water, and you live like pikeys for a week.
Norman's wish all his life is to live in a caravan. He's going to be in his bloody element.
I'll get a 4x4 next.
The Moles family now know where they are going.
Well, you've got long, about 20 minutes, I think, something stupid like that. I'm just panicking that they're going to turn up and not let us take the rest of our stuff out.
But they are way behind on packing and moving, and whatever is left in the house will be seized by the bailiffs.
It's 1:30, we've got 15 minutes.
Yeah, don't fall down the stairs, hurt yourself. We've brought enough of them with us, have we? Just stand it down there. We've only got 3 of them. Hello, mate. Yeah, it is.
You know what's happening today?
Yeah.
What's going on. How are you doing with moving out?
We need about another hour if possible.
Can't give you that long.
What we're doing now, we're going to get it all out and stand it on the drive, and then it will all be moved today. But we need at least another 30 minutes to get it all out here.
I've lost the cat now. I haven't got a clue where the cat is.
Really, these shouldn't be took out. I'm just carrying on really, because the guy who's doing the locks, he's got to drain the water tank as well, so we've got a bit of time to get the last few bits out. Got to be done.
I've been 16 years now. I've been doing this. Yeah, but it's really been the last 2 or 3 years where it's suddenly gone through the roof. So it's quite scary really, just how many people are getting evicted now. Yeah, 30, 40 a day we're booking it now in our diary.
I'm absolutely gutted because I just want to stay at my house. This is my home. It's not somebody else's. And it's going to be empty for months and months and months, you know. This is my kids' room.
It's autumn, and Tim and Tracy have come up with a plan which they hope will keep them in their home. They've asked their mortgage lender for a meeting to discuss their financial situation and have just heard back.
Further to your recent communication...
This is the letter from G-Money. It's for us to know whether there is anything we can do to assist you with you paying your arrears. We need to understand your financial situation and whether you can offer any payment. We suggest that you telephone this office to discuss your options, sorry. So that was quite nice, really.
I think we need to have a meeting with them to discuss...
What, monthly money?
Yeah, whether they can drop the payments, that we can start making some payments towards it.
At least it's still ours for the time being.
Yeah.
And you might be surprised with the figure that they come up with, you never know. As the whole world's going at the moment, everything's going downhill fast.
Something's better than nothing, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed, you've still got a job.
At the moment.
Some people haven't, have they?
No.
Determined to stay in their home, Tim and Tracy are at last feeling optimistic for the future.
Our hope is to stay in this house.
Remain in the house, yeah.
Remain in this property.
We've put so much
Friends and
up.
family are local and get back on track financially. We can then, in 3 years' time, go to the high street bank, say, can you give us a mortgage at X amount per month? We'll go, great, that's cheaper than what we've ever paid, and we'll go back to you know, a normal mortgage. I think the biggest mistake that we made was buying the property with our credit history the way it was.
Teresa and Alan have also decided that the time has come to take a different approach to their situation.
2 weeks ago, Alan got up one Sunday morning at 4 o'clock complaining of chest pains. And I had to take him up to A&E, and they checked his heart and everything, and he was fine. It frightened the life out of me. Then you just have to say enough's enough. You've got to stop worrying about things.
With no prospect of business picking up, Alan has been forced to make a difficult decision.
Hello! The house is going to be repossessed any day. We're going to end up owing a lot of money after the mortgage is repaid. We can't afford to pay that money back, so the only choice is bankruptcy. I mean, when the bankruptcy forms go in, I have to resign from my position. So, just don't know where that's going to leave us. Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare situation. Gone bankrupt, got no credit facilities, no money. It's just one big pile of shit, really. Well, it is. I should just be pleased when all this is done. You know?
So will I.
Get it in, get it done, and then it's a new start, isn't it?
Once it's all done and dusted, then we've just got to look forward to having a normal life and earning what we need to have a normal life. And without worrying about bailiffs coming and knocking on the door and the phone going off and dreading answering it. Looking forward to them days again.
Yeah. Still remind me.
Only if you cheer up.
Yeah, of course I do.
See if the door works, shall we?
Teresa and Norman have arrived at their caravan on the Essex coast.
We're in. Oh, this is pucker in here, look. Microwave, look.
Very nice.
Proper cooker. Cleaning stuff, look. Telly. Happy days. This is good. No, this is nice. You got wardrobes, a double bed, look. This is nice, isn't it?
It is nice. You don't really mind as long as you've got a bed.
No,
and
I mean,
tea.
I'm not being funny. I'll sleep anywhere.
You know.
As long as I'm in the dry. No, I mean, I'd sleep in the garage. It wouldn't bother me, but with the kids and that.
Yeah, whereas with me, my home is... Because I have panic attacks and anxiety attacks, the only place I ever really, really feel safe is home. And that's why it was hard losing the one we've just lost, because that, to me, when we moved in there, I thought that was where we were going to stay for a long, long time.
Oh, I'd never take a mortgage out again. The only way is if we was fortunate enough to get a council house, and maybe, I don't know, 10 years' time, they were still selling council houses and they said you could buy it for 50, 60 G, and we had the money, physical cash, then I would go in and hand it over and buy it, but I wouldn't trust mortgage companies, basically.
Because we're on, we'll be on our own in here. I should be all right, because I know I can go out there when I want and I won't feel all shut in too much. So I'll be all right in here, that'll be fine.